Hey everybody, back once again. This is tip number 4 of 7 on how to speed up and improve your workflow on Ableton Live 9. Right, so getting straight in, what we have here is a loop. Okay, so a few interesting elements to this track. We've got the beats, the bass, synths, a little guitar loop, choir sound, and some yep-yeps with so a little vocal there as well. So it's quite a dry mix at the moment. There's only been EQ and compression done on these. There's no reverb or delay. And what I like to do is to give each item its sense of space in the mix is send a certain amount of it to a reverb on a return track. So the idea of speeding up the workflow here is that we're going to create a template of about 3 or 4 return tracks, including reverbs and delays of different sizes, different lengths, so that as you're creating tracks, as you're making new songs, you can very quickly colour your sound and make it sound more professional by sending various elements of your track to those returns. And then you've always got, say, a small, medium, big reverb and a delay handy, ready to go whenever you're creating new songs. So what we're going to do is press Command, Option and T about 4 times, and that in turn is creating these new return tracks down here. Now the 4 that I'm going to show you, and you can obviously use whatever you want whenever you like, but this is just my personal way of doing it. I'm going to have a small reverb, a medium reverb, a bigger reverb, and also quite a basic ping pong delay as well. So I tend to find that different elements of the track, so the drums and maybe the guitar, will want to be a bit more upfront in the mix with a smaller room reverb. And then things like the choir and maybe delayed elements or certain parts of the synth, depending on if it's a pad type or a short sharp sound, we want to send back towards the back of the mix. And this just really helps with the mixing process in general, gives your track a sense of space and a much more professional, shiny, shimmery finish to it. Right, so let's just use some native live effects here. We're going to go to the reverb and drag it on A. Let's make A, let's rename it straight away. Do small reverb, SM verb. Now I'm not going to go into all the different aspects of the reverb plugin today. All I'm going to do is show you my personal go-to settings, and then you can tweak as you like from there. Okay, so I don't want any input processing or early reflections. I'm not going to worry about the pre-delay because I tend to use this depending on what my tempo of the track is, because I do like it to mathematically match up, so you have a little bit of pre-delay of the reverb in time with what the tempo of the track is. Quality, eco, mid or high, this is just going to depend on how much processing your computer can spare. Let's just go middle for diddle for now. Okay, decay time for the small verb, I'm going to have about 700 milliseconds there. I like to have a low pass. I'm going to take out the muddier sounds of the reflections of the reverb. About there, no chorus. And of course, being a return track, we want the wet to be up to 100%. So whatever we're sending to this return channel, we know that we're going to get all of the reverb added to it. Right, let's take a look at which elements of our track that we want to send to the small room reverb. I'm going to start with drums. We generally want the kit to sound like it's all being played together in one room. And so for the small reverb, we want to send the hats, and let's, out of this actually, we're just going to send the hats to it. The reason being, I want snares and the clap to have a slightly longer reverb. So when it comes to that, I'm going to send them to the medium. And these 3 elements here actually make up the kick. If I just solo those, I don't normally have 3 layers to a kick. It's very excessive, but it just so happened, for whatever reason, in this track, that's the way it turned out. Believe me, when it comes to producing, you absolutely generally only really want 1, maximum 2 kicks, because it can, if you go on that journey for the search for the perfect kick, let me tell you, that place does not exist. You will always just be on the journey, as my thought of the day. Right, okay, so let's first of all, let's solo these hats. Listen to these, and we're going to start to send to the reverb. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go a bit OTT, send it all, and then I'm going to rein it in a little bit. When you can hear the reverb really blatantly, you know you need to just rein it back until it blends a lot more. There we go, that's nice. So let's just do a before and after there. Let's go back to the reverb. Without. And with. Already it's given it a nice little bit of space. Okay, let's get straight onto a medium-sized reverb. Now, rather than change all those settings again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy what we did with the small reverb and paste it very simply into the next track. And then we need to rename it. So I'm going to call it Reverb. The only thing that's going to make it medium is increasing the decay time. So we're going to go up to about 1.5 seconds now. So it's about twice as long. Everything else can stay the same. I'm happy with that. Now, I want to send the clap and the snares to this reverb. So let's highlight them both using Shift. And let's solo the snares and the clap for now. And press play. Okay, and let's send these to the medium. So because of the longer decay, it's much more apparent earlier on as we send a portion of the snares and the claps in. Let's go too far. Yeah, the reverb's taking over there, so let's rein it back in again. About there is good for me. Let's now listen to that with the hats. Okay. Now we can listen to the whole kit, because I'm not going to add any reverb to any of the kick elements. So let's just solo the beats. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the small and medium reverbs, and so on. We can before and after them. Both at the same time. All right. Without. Dry as a bone. With. Much more spacious. Sounds lovely. Right. Okay. Let's move on. We're going to... let's do the synths now, the synth sound. Bass we're not going to put any reverb on. Very, very, very rarely. I put a bit of reverb on a bass line, perhaps if it's the higher element of a bass line, or if you have a very trebly bass line or a stereo bass line. It's obviously very genre dependent. But for me, this is a nice low. I'll show you. See, it's quite low and bassy, so we're not going to put any reverb on that. We want it to be very centered and prominent. Okay, what did I say? Synth, sorry. Okay, let's have a quick solo here. All right, so we have 3 elements to this at the moment. And the stabs, so a hissy little extra, and some high keys which aren't playing because my plugin's cocked up, so I'm going to delete that for now. It was only a little extra being an octave higher anyway, it didn't make too much difference. Okay, so for these, we want them prominent in the mix. I'm going to send them both to the small reverb. Let's go. Let's go too far again. And then rein it in. Okay, I'm happy with that. It's just, I opened and expanded it that little bit. Okay, let's hear that now with the drums. And again, we're going to turn both of these reverbs off and see what it sounds like dry. And with the reverbs on again. Nice, getting there. Okay, moving on, we are going to add some reverb now to the guitar line. Let's listen to it dry. Okay, again, I'm going to go small reverb on this one. I like that already. I'm not going to go too far and come back. That's perfect for me. I'm happy with that. Okay, let's see what that sounds like. Brilliant. All right, so we're really motoring through this. We've got the guitar, the synths, and elements of the drum kit sent to the small and the medium reverb. Now the last two elements, we've got the choir sound and the little vocal sample. Let's just solo these two for now. Now both of these sounds, because there's no reverb there, they sound a bit flat and very prominent in the mix, and I actually want to send these to the background a little more. So what we're going to do, we're going to create on the C return track a big reverb now. So what I'm going to do is hopefully actually Command V for paste. Yes, and we've still got the reverb ready in the tank there to go from the one that we sent to the medium one. So all we need to do now to make this even bigger, again, is turn up the decay time, and we're going to go for about 4 seconds. Okay, that should be enough to really let the choir and this yep yep sound go towards the back of the mix. All right, so let's open these up. Actually, what I'm going to do is just do the choir first, because I want to add delay to the yep as well in a minute. So let's just stick with the choir on its own for now. So it's on C. Oh, I didn't rename it. Let's quickly do that. So big verb. Okay, and let's send some. Okay, right, I like that. It's got a nice long tail to it. Really gives it a nice expansive feel, sends it away and spreads it out. Let's listen to that now with the rest of the mix. Let's hear it without. And with. Yeah, it just really softens it a bit, because obviously I have some sidechain compression going on, making it pump a little bit. It's softened a little bit with the big reverb that it's being sent to, and I like that. It's still got the pump there, it's still got the rhythm, but it's just sent it back that little bit further. Okay, moving on to the little vocal sound now. Let's have a quick listen to this dry. And dry it is. So what we want to do first of all is add some reverb to it. Now I'm going to choose big verb. I want to send it back in the mix a little bit. Okay, let's dial it in. Let's make this loop shorter so that we don't have to wait ages between each one. There we go. Bit too much. See, the reflections are a bit harsh on this, so I'm going to decrease it a bit. Okay, happy with that. Now, I want a delay now, so on the return, I'm going to drag in a ping pong delay. Dry wet up to 100%. And feedback, I'm going to turn right down. We don't want it to completely swamp the mix. Let's just say 9% now. Let's dial some in. Okay, my loop, I need to send it. Let's listen to it in context. Maybe a little more. A great thing to do would be to have these 4 return tracks as part of a brand new live set, a brand new template, so that you could load it up every time and have them there ready to go as you create your tracks. So what we can do is save this as new template. And now what we can do is just delete all of the stuff here, just to create a blank slate. Oh yeah, obviously you can't delete every single one because you have to have something here. Let's just call this audio. And I'm basically just resetting everything here to mimic what it would be like. Let's show the returns. There we go. So you could save this now as new template once again. And then if you go to Command and Comma, you can go to, now which one is it? File folder, that's it. I should have done my homework there. And then you can go to Save Current Set as Default. And once you click that, every time you load a new set up in the menu, your brand new template will start here and you'll have your 4 awesome return tracks ready to go, ready to help you create some really professional sounding, colourful, spacious and fantastic mixes. Okay, all right, I look forward to speaking to you guys next week for tip number 5. Have a great weekend. Enjoy. Cheers.